A former CIA operative is battling with depression and alcoholism, but his world turns around when he becomes a bodyguard. When the girl he's protecting is kidnapped, he will go to all lengths to ensure that no one messes with his loved ones again. John Creasy is a former CIA SAD officer. He had created quite a name for himself in the field, however something happened and he quit his glorious career. He became haunted by the numerous people he'd killed and sank into alcoholism, hoping to lessen his guilt. He's traveling to Mexico to visit his good friend Rayburn. The two friends reunite and talk about old times while walking down the Mexican streets. Rayburn then reveals the true intention of this visit. He has a job proposition for John. Samuel Ramos, a Mexico City automaker, is looking to hire a bodyguard for his daughter Pita. At the same time, Samuel is seen talking with the family lawyer Calfus. Calfus was Samuel's father's best friend, so he looks after Samuel like his own son. The two are discussing how in debt the Ramos family is. Samuel wants to hire a bodyguard for Pita since Mexico has been a hotbed for ransom kidnappings. John is unwilling to commit to such a job as he feels he's tired of active duty. However, he decides to go for an interview to honor Rayburn's wishes. Samuel is impressed by John's extensive resume, especially his positions in the CIA. He expresses concerns over John's alcoholism, but he decides to give him a trial period. Samuel takes John to his home to meet Pita. She is a delightful young girl who is excited to meet John. Her mother, Lisa, also meets John and likes his resume. She tells Pita to show John around the house so they can get to know each other. Pita shows John the home, including the room he'll be sleeping in. The next morning, John takes Pita to school. She tries talking to him, but John is in a bad mood. He explains that talking to Pita will distract him from the job that he's being paid to do. His words hurt Pita, and it shows when they get home. Rita asks John what happened, but he maintains that his work is to protect Pita, not befriend her. That night, John has another nightmare that increases his guilt over his actions in the CIA. He fetches his weapon and loads it with a bullet that he always carries. Full of self-doubt, John tries to kill himself, but the weapon misfires. John tries again and again, but the same thing keeps on happening. Intrigued, he calls Rayburn to ask what the chances are of such a thing happening. Rayburn suspects John's intentions and tells him the bullet always tells the truth. John looks back at the house and sees Pita looking at him. This makes John realize he was meant to be here in this moment and can get redemption by taking good care of Pita. John drops his harsh demeanor the next morning and becomes friendlier towards Pita. He shaves his unkempt beard and drops his alcoholic behavior, intending to be the best guard he can possibly be. John bonds with Pita over swimming lessons after he helps her overcome her fear of starting gunshots in races. This allows her to win a competition and the two celebrate. John realizes that Pita is loved by her parents, but the weight of their work limits their time with her. He's happy to step in and teach Pita a thing or two about life. In the time he's been with Pita, John has seen a suspicious car tailing them. One day, he takes Pita for piano lessons. As he waits outside, John sees a police car blocking the road's exit and the suspicious vehicle from earlier pulls in. John suspects something is wrong and tries to warn Pita, who's leaving the building. John fires a warning shot so Pita can see the danger. He manages to take out 4 of the attackers, including the police officers in cahoots with the kidnappers. Sadly, John sustains multiple gunshot wounds and Pita is kidnapped. The police arrest John and the police report issues a statement. He accuses John of firing a weapon at the 2 police officers and being involved in Pita's kidnapping. However, Mariana, a news reporter, questions the story, seeing as the 2 police officers involved in the case are said to be corrupt. Detective Fuentes of the Anti-Kidnapping Police Unit visits the Ramos family to tell them about the kidnapping and the necessary measures to take. Soon, the kidnappers call, demanding a $10 million ransom. Pita's kidnapping insurance steps up and provides the ransom money. The money is taken to the drop point, but an unknown team intervenes. They steal the money and execute the person sent to take the money. Assisted by AFI agent Manzano, Rayburn transports John into a veterinary clinic, suspecting that he might be executed to cover up the kidnapping case and the police officer's involvement. John starts recovering and learns of the botched ransom payout. After the exchange failed to work out, the kidnappers told Samuel that Pita would be gone forever. The kidnappers hold the Ramos family responsible for the death of their colleague. Manzano tells John the truth about the police officers he'd killed at Pita's kidnapping. They are part of a brotherhood called La Hermandad that comprises of corrupt police officers, politicians, and criminals. John wants to avenge Pita's apparent death, so his new friends warn him to be careful. John is looking at the scene of the kidnapping when Mariana approaches him. She's been following the case and wants to help John get justice for Peter. She gives him the note she's made on the case and offers her assistance when he needs it. John goes back to the Ramos home to pack up his stuff. He's found by Lisa, who wants John to kill all the men involved in her daughter's death. This gives John a sense of purpose, and he gathers everything he needs to start the revenge mission. He tracks down the car he saw following him, learning it belongs to a corrupt cop. The cop is initially arrogant, but after John starts cutting off his fingers, he talks. He says that the kidnapper goes by the name The Voice and that his cousin was killed at the exchange. John gets information about the whereabouts of 3 of the kidnappers. He refuses to spare the cop's life, and after killing him, he makes the car crash, and the explosion covers up John's tracks. He goes to the club and confronts 3 of the kidnappers as instructed by the cop. Once again, he uses his skills to kill 2, prompting the 3rd to tell the truth. He gives John a credit card through which the Voice paid them, confessing he doesn't know who he is. John learns that the club is a holding place for kidnapped victims before they're taken to the Voice. He finds a girl and rescues her. This makes him very angry and he blows up the club. John has also learned that Fuentes is the head of the La Hermandad crime syndicate. John calls Mariana, gives her the credit card and asks for information about Fuentes. He then stalks Fuentes' heavily guarded home and finds an opening to ambush him from a nearby building. When Fuentes' entourage arrives, John takes out the first car with a rocket-propelled grenade. He then executes all of Fuentes' men and kidnaps him. He takes Fuentes to a secret location and reveals that he had inserted a grenade into his backside. The grenade would explode in 5 minutes unless Fuentes told the truth. Fuentes reveals that he had arranged to have the money stolen. However, he found that the bag contained $2.5 million instead of the $10 million ransom. Further interrogation from John makes Fuentes reveal that Calfus had taken the rest of the money. After letting the grenade explode and end Fuentes, John goes to Calfus' house. He's surprised to find Calfus' lifeless body floating in the pool. Despite this, John goes into the house hoping to find answers. He finds a bank account and calls Mariana for help. Later, John enters the Ramos home with the information Mariana had uncovered. It turns out that Samuel and Calfus had arranged for the kidnapping to happen. The ransom money would be shared equally between the two so Samuel could pay off some of the debts crippling his company. Lisa, who is in the dark about all of this, is deeply angered to learn that his husband willingly sacrificed their only child for money. She asks John to take Samuel's life or she will. In return, John gives Samuel the very weapon and bullet he had tried to end his life with. Mariana and Manzano continue working on the case and soon find a lead regarding the credit card. Following the lead helps them discover that the Voice is a man called Daniel Sanchez. His pregnant girlfriend is hiding in the slums while being protected by Daniel's brother Aurelio. John goes to the slums and kidnaps the two, although he sustains a gunshot wound to the chest. He then calls Daniel, demanding to meet or he will eliminate his family. In a shocking twist of fate, Daniel confesses that Peter is still alive. He will give her to John in exchange for his family. John asks for confirmation that Peter is still alive and he gets it. Daniel will make the exchange, but he wants John's life as revenge for his nephew's death. Without giving it much thought, John agrees to the terms. He tells Lisa about Peter and the exchange, but doesn't tell her about his sacrifice. Soon, John meets Daniel, who releases Peter true to his word. John hugs Peter and tearfully reunites with her, glad to see her alive and well. He tells her to go to her mother as he needs to do something. Daniel's men capture John and Daniel's brother fatally shoots him. As he feels the life draining out of his body, John is content in his last minutes as he has gotten the redemption he craved. Later that day, Manzano tracks down Daniel and shoots him dead instead of arresting him.